let's just open that can of worms. Big Pharma spends billions on their messaging, right? Little guys like us don't have a chance in that arena. So getting that information out for what's really possible is unfortunately somewhat limited because of that. But here you are today. So I'm proud of you for taking a step and taking action on that. It's really important. I'm a local guy. I was born here at Holy Spirit Hospital. Went off to school and came back, and here we are. So that's my super short story, right? What are some things that you love to do that you've had to maybe pause on, or the pain has bothered you? And like, what's going on in life? Tell me some things.
Bending.
Going for walks.
Bending. Stoop.
Bending, standing, and stooping. Yes, thank you. Just simple stuff. Shopping. Living basic life. Anybody else have challenges? Sleeping is another major one. Sleeping problems, right? Worrying about your balance. Like, is that? Balance. Yeah. These are all the things you guys are dealing with. All right. And then what does that rob you of in life, right? Why are you really here? You want to stoop, yeah, but like, is it self-confidence again? Is it being able to play with kids or grandkids? Is it, we all have that real reason. Why did you spend time on a Tuesday afternoon when it's not smoldering hot out there, right? To spend some time learning about this. So just be thinking about, you don't need to share that now, but just be, what is that really going to do if your life changed? If you took action in a healthy way and invested in that, in your own health, what would that do? So just be thinking that as we go through this today. Ready for a joke? This is not a recommendation, it's a joke. All right, so just keep that in mind. Why do the patients stop seeing the neurologist? Any ideas? Who wants to play?
Felt better.
Right? I wish that would be a great answer. Not very funny, but a great answer. Yeah. You ready for the punchline? They got on their nerves. Right, okay. But I hear this a lot. It's like they're just kind of playing by feet. They're doing testing, but they don't have any solutions other than what? What solutions have they given you so far? Let's take a step back. What even is neuropathy? Let's start there. Neuropathy is damage to the nerve system. You have central nerve system, which is your brain and spinal cord. Everything else is peripheral. So that could be head, that could be arms, legs. It could be in one limb and not in another. It could be in both. It could be in all four. It could be, does it make sense? So the presentation varies. But the bottom line is you're damaging the peripheral nerve system. Okay? So that's the broad definition of neuropathy. So over 20 million people are suffering with this in the US alone. That's 1 in 6 over age 45. Bunch of people. Can you catch it? Is it contagious? No. Like, what in the world's going on? Why are these numbers so high? What are the options they give me so far? What are the traditional treatment options? Gabapentin. What else? Its cousins, Neurontin, Cymbalta, Lyrica, right? What else? Walking. I wish that were standard of care for treating neuropathy, but it's not. Yeah, but thanks for playing.
Helps arthritis, though.
It does. It certainly does. Yeah, you got to move it, right? It's move it or lose it. Who's heard that one before? Move it or lose it, right? No one's heard that? Yeah, okay. Just making sure that. So yeah, what else? What are their treatment options? Just drugs? Nobody else is given any other options for you?
My daughter's chiropractor said see the chiropractor every week.
And that may be true for certain neuropathies,
Yeah.
but you'll hear in my story why that actually can fail or doesn't really produce the results that you're wanting. But yeah, definitely, and that's coming from a chiropractor, right? You do need your spine healthy, but that may not be the only reason why it's there. Okay, yeah, great. So traditional treatment options are basically that. Meds, and then worst case scenario would be amputation. Okay, I've seen too many of those.
This is for my husband.
Okay.
I'm also reading that there's a vitamin B deficiency that could cause it.
We're going to get into all that.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
love that. But absolutely, there's so many different causes and reasons. We're going to cover those here in a minute. That's perfect. And so I don't use this as a scare tactic, but you do need to be aware that that's where this can end up if you lose feeling in your feet or your hands. I had a guy the other week come in and tell me he took a bite into a hamburger and had blood all over the place because he bit into his thumb and didn't know it. And that can cause infection, and then you can lose. Does that make sense? So it's not just because it's the damage that happens after your tissue that can cause amputation. That's usually where that goes. If you're type 2 diabetic, you're in a higher risk category for that. Make sense? That's all I'm going to say about that, but that's really all I got. Medications, let's wait till it gets worse, and then hopefully, you don't need something that's that end stage. Symptom management is the bottom line. Let's manage your symptoms. You have a more comfortable life, and there's value in that, but it doesn't actually fix a darn thing. Does it make sense? Yeah. So let's learn a different way. Medical errors would be the third cause of death in the U.S. if the CDC counted them. That's from the British Journal. But here's what happens. You lose mobility, fear of falling. Anybody raise your hand, fear of falling, or you're concerned if your loved one's going to fall? That's a big deal. You stop traveling, losing hobbies, stop living. If you ever wondered what it'd be like to get those things back, if you ever wondered, what if I could stoop again? What if I could just walk without pain? What if I could? I'm going to show you some of those things today. So the better way, here's what we're commonly seeing. We cannot help everybody. I'm not going to blow smoke and say we can fix it all. We can't. It's also healthcare, so I can't promise you anything. But for the cases we can accept and that follow the treatment plan, we're seeing 90% success rate, which means 50 to 100% improvement in their symptoms. Raise your hand if that sounds like a win. That be a win for you? Okay. So if not, that's cool. Then you can kindly, quietly leave, but that's not a win for you. But we're doing that without drugs and surgery. We're going to show you what that looks like. Couple of stories here. Jay and Judy. We were miserable, right? It wasn't just Jay who was dealing with neuropathy. They were both miserable because she was having to do all the caretaking. A lot of pain in the legs. Walking was a challenge. Pain in the feet. Thought it was due to arch issues. They went to a podiatrist. That didn't work. Turned out to be neuropathy. Now we can walk better without pain. That's a very short version. Jay had a herniated disc in his back, so he needed back care as well as the nerves reacted to his feet. He had blood sugar problems. When he showed up at my office, he was on the back. He was riding backwards in the car because he couldn't sit down properly. So Jay was really beat up. Rick. Robin was driving me crazy. My feet felt like they were ice cold all the time. Anybody relate to that? Yeah. You wake up 5-6 times a night. How do you feel when you don't sleep well? Crummy or crummy, right? Who wakes up after a crummy night and says, oh, I can't wait to take on the day. Nobody says that. After a couple of visits, he's sleeping through the night. He's no longer getting up. His neuropathy is 75% better. His why, the reason he showed up, he had a son with special needs, and he needed to be there to take care of him. He's like, nobody else is coming to help him. I got to be that guy. So if you want Rick's phone number, let me know. He said I can hand it out to whoever wants it. I called him last summer. Someone was interested in his number. And he said, Doc, actually, able to travel again. I'm on a glacier in Alaska. Can I call you when I'm back in town? I was like, why are you picking up the phone on the glacier? Anyway, so yeah. So if you want his number, let me know. Sadie, a lot of progress with her neuropathy. When I came in, was in bad shape and couldn't walk. I experienced a lot of pain in my legs. Now my right leg is pain-free, and my left leg is feeling better. The treatment is helping, and it's worth every penny. It wasn't always like that, though. Betty was one of my first patients in practice. And what you're going to see here is difference in location. I was in Lancaster for 15 years before we moved up here. Betty came in originally with a back problem, and we got her better because I'm a chiropractor. That's what we do. So it worked out pretty well. And then she said, hey, Doc, I got neuropathy. Can you help me with that? I was like, well, I don't know, Betty. We learned some things in school about it, but I don't know a ton. Let's try some things. She was open to that. We put our course in training. Guess what happened? Got better. No. Big fat zero. We totally failed. Didn't work at all. So then what do? You course correct. We changed some things up. Tried different therapies. Tried different things. Then guess what happened? Strike 2, 0, nothing, got better. So yeah, you're right. So I had to go back to the drawing board and learn some more things. And then we came up with the program we have now that I'm going to show you all the details on. But that's Betty 2 months into her story. And this is a 6-year follow-up. So there's the difference in the time. The other question I get is, no, the treatment does not turn your hair white. She went gracefully gray between the two in that time period. I'll let her tell her story. You can hear that from Betty.
Okay.
So I'm here with Betty, and she's been, how long been in the neuropathy program now?
A little over 2 months.
About 2 months. Mm-hmm. And you started, and you were pretty high percentages from
Yes. If I'm correct, I'm 88% loss.
88%, right?
On the right and 78 on the left.
Yeah, and we weren't really sure, like, I don't know if this is going to help initially.
Yes.
So tell me, what were you experiencing when you first came in with the neuropathy symptoms?
Yeah, extremely restless at night, and my toes area especially hurt. It was an unusual. It was hard to define or describe the ache that's there. Sometimes it felt like my feet were freezing, and yet when I touched them, they weren't cold.
Right, that sensation of the freezing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then, what's been your experience since being able to start the program?
Well, I don't experience the restlessness or the pain.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and that's only the 2 months, and I have time to go yet, so I'm very delighted.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where this turns out for you, because I know when we looked at your last set of numbers, you were doing, I think only, well, it was less than 40%.
It's 31,
Just 31 on the one side and 31
on the other.
on the other. Oh, is he?
Yes.
See, you know better than I did. That's great. So that's a huge change from, 80s.
It is.
That's wonderful.
And I'm so grateful. But the thing that really blesses my heart is my older sister is numb from her knees down,
Mm-hmm.
and now from her hands to her elbows. And I was hoping I could avoid that. And really, that's helping. You're helping too.
Yeah. We're really happy with part of that, and we get to be part of that. So much for sure. Do I have your permission to share this with other people, other patients, other students, other doctors?
Sure.
Any
Yes,
conditions
indeed.
on sharing that?
No.
Okay.
Yes.
Thanks so much, Dave.
Mhm.
She mentioned numbers in there. The point of no return for the nerd is when you've lost 85% sensory. So for her, it was 88% on the one limb and a little less than that on the others. It was, we were right on that borderline of, can we even treat this and do anything about it? Once you pass 85%, there's almost always permanent nerve damage to some degree or another.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
How do you measure the nerve damage?
We'll see that here in a minute. Yeah, for sure. Great question. I love that. So with her, 2 months in, she got 40%. She got down to 30% sensory loss. Does that make sense? So we improved it from 80s, high 80s to the low 30s in a couple months. Meaning she gained all that function and sensory back. At the end of that program, welcome. Glad you're here.
Thank you.
Again, it didn't take her 6 years. It took her about 4 to 6 months was her treatment. And then she continued to do the therapies we showed her at home. And 6 years later, she no longer needs the stuff. She has the equipment she needs, but she rarely uses it. And these are the long-term results we can see with this approach. Okay, so this is what about a 6 or so year follow-up.
Yes.
So tell me what your symptoms are now for the neuropathy.
Well, it's good unless I eat sweets.
Okay.
And I have misery in my feet.
Gotcha.
Big time.
But otherwise, you don't really need your equipment right now, and you're not really using that as part of your care plan anymore.
Correct.
Just staying on the diet more.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes.
And that's fantastic long-term results with so far, especially because your sister was in bad shape.
Yes.
And we've avoided that. Thank God for that.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
buddy. Appreciate it.
For what you do as well.
Bless you. Thank you. So she got all of her feeling back. All of it came back, 100%. And her sister, she wasn't around us or any of my colleagues. Guess where she is? She's in a wheelchair. Yeah. So it was giant, right? To say the least. Maybe. All right. So, let's talk about what success looks like today. Who wants to understand the cause of neuropathy? Raise your hand. Nice and high. You want to understand what causes neuropathy? You don't want to know? All right, cool. I'm going to show you our four-pronged approach to get it better, the results we got for everybody who's already seen. And hopefully you're getting some hope back. You're starting to see, like, maybe this is a possibility. You know, yeah. Seeing some wins. So let's cover number one right now. Everybody put your hand up. This is a demo for you. So hands up. Everybody have a hand up. This is your nerve cell. Okay? These are the blood vessels that feed your nerve cell. Now, make a fist as tight as you possibly can and hold it for 10 minutes. Now, let's say it was 10 minutes later. What are you going to feel in your hand? What are you going to notice? Shout it out. Numbness. Tingling. Burning. Right? Wait, that sounds like neuropathy. You can rest your hand. Do you understand what's causing it? You're choking off the blood supply and you're starving the nerve of nutrients, and it's going to yell at you. And the yelling might be different for everybody. Could be numbness, could be, right? And then the insidious thing with neuropathy is this. As the disease progresses, you have fewer and fewer symptoms because the nerve is dying, right? Does that make sense? So typically, on the later stages of neuropathy, you won't feel as many symptoms. Oh, well, maybe it's better. Maybe the medication's working. But truly, the nerve is dying quicker than it can repair, and you start losing the feeling altogether. Does that make sense? So that's what causes it. Choking and suffocating the nerve and starving it of nutrients will make it symptomatic. The better question is, what causes that to happen? And that's what we're going to cover next. Is that helpful to know? Mm-hmm. So the reason for this is literally over 100 different known causes. Number one is going to be blood sugar problems. Number two is going to be probably immune or toxicity problems. So autoimmune, cancer or cancer treatments, these things are related to killing off the nerves. Bottom line is you're getting burning, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, all these other symptoms of neuropathy, and that's where medication can manage symptoms. But it's not getting to the root causes. Like we talked about, where does your immune system live? More than half your immune system lives in your gut. A lot of people have gut problems or digestive challenges, and that's inhibiting or making the immune dysfunctional, which then can attack nerves or cause chronic inflammation. Are you with me? Yeah. So gut health, macronutrients, which are your main food like categories, carbohydrates, proteins, right? And what's the other one? Fats, good, yeah. So those are the three main, not food groups, but those are the categories of food that we have, right? So most people are eating bad fats or fried foods, things that are inflammatory. You've been told your whole life that Butter's bad, right? That lard is bad. That you want to eat margarine and Crisco and these, right? Now we know those are cancer-causing inflammatory. It's like, so bad fats are bad. Don't do them. Other things, most people with neuropathy are eating too much on the carbohydrate side. They've got too much insulin going on, too much, right? So their blood sugar's out of whack, and sugar will damage the nerves. Okay? Micronutrients, to your question, there's a glare on your name tag.
Me?
Yeah.
Just D.
D, we'll go with D.
Yeah.
So the micronutrients are your B vitamins, B12, folic acid, right? Lipoic acid. These are nutrients that the nerve requires to work properly and function normally. And for various reasons, some of them are genetic, some of them are dietary, some of them are from medications actually using up your nutrients. You can have deficiencies in those micronutrients. Does that make sense? So that can be a cause of it as well. Oxygen deprivation, we talked about use it or good class, use it or lose it. So if you're right, if you don't move, how well does oxygen get to the tissues? Not very well. Sedentary lifestyle, same kind of thing in there. Other people have lung problems, you know, like COPD or what have you, that would deprive oxygen to the tissues. And then neurological weaknesses from either injury or some other trauma that can challenge the nerves. Those are the main root causes which cause this, which is literally in the literature over 100 different reasons why. Okay? So at the end of the day, root causes are critical to understand, but if we can do this, is there any reason for the symptom to exist? If we can restore blood flow and restore nutrients and get that nerve back to life, is there any reason for them to exist? No. That's what we're doing here. That's why it's different. So, secret number one. Who wants to learn secret number one? 2 people. Great. All right. Thank you for playing. Joel, you had this one done a couple minutes ago, I believe, right? So, we do a thermal scan to see about blood flow in the tissue. The only acceptable colors in my office are red and white. That's where the most blood flow is. What do you see in this photo here? Shout it out.
Yellow.
Yellow, red, green. So you see white and red in the arms and the torso, that's normal. When you get down to the feet, cold. Bad blood flow does what? Right? Makes the nerve die. That was on June 2nd of 23. This one is July 18th of 23. What do you see now? Red and white. Blood flow is coming back. Feet are starting to heal. So angiogenesis means making new blood vessels. Okay, and with our framework, we have ways to stimulate the body to make your own new blood vessels. Make sense? So that's secret number one. So, who's this for? If you value your quality of life, you probably wouldn't be here otherwise, right? Here's the key. You have to want to be an active participant in your care. Why did we fail the first 2 times with Betty? We only did in-office treatments. She didn't really do much at home. She changed her diet some, but it wasn't, right? She wasn't doing things day in and day out to take care of it. That's where we're winning now, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. Okay? So, you tried everything else, standard of care, drugs, or you're tired of taking them, or you're concerned about the side effects, and you're still suffering with pain and numbness and tingling, pins, needles, cold extremity, all the things we talked about that are related to neuropathy, right? So, who wants to learn what's needed to heal on your own? You're like, okay, that's why I'm here. Let's talk about that. So the only way to reverse it is to restore nerve function. Okay, very simple concept, but important to understand. Raise your hand if you think medications can actually restore nerve function. Good. They're not designed to do that. They don't have that capacity. Your body knows how. When you cut your finger, what happens? You bleed, and then what? Scabs up, right? Do you have to think about, oh, do this, do that, make new blood vessels, make a scab? Thankfully, no, or like we wouldn't get anything else done. Your body knows how to heal. Isn't that great? Like that's amazing. We all know this, but like it's a different paradigm. So how do you restore that? We talked about the secret one, oxygenation, angiogenesis. Number 2 then is reducing inflammation. Who knows that inflammation is like linked to every chronic illness out there, right? Heart disease, cancer, you name it. Neuropathy is one of them. It's an inflammatory situation. So you use revitalizing foods for the nerve. That could be micro, that could be macro, or a combination thereof. And then accelerating the nerve healing, which is the reconnecting of the feet, for example, or the hands back to the cord into the brain. Making sure those pathways and the signaling work the way they're supposed to. Make sense? So it's get the nutrients in, the toxins out, put the good stuff in, reduce the inflammation, and then make sure the signals work. That's conceptually our framework. That's what we need to do. Why am I even qualified to tell you this stuff, right? I've been doing this for 20 years now. I have advanced certifications with the ICAK and NET. What does that even mean? That is a global body of doctors that look at real-time physiology and neurology, so we can actually assess in real time what's going on with the person and do we make a change or not. So that's a simple version on that. And then NET is related to stress, and you've heard of PTSD.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so on a smaller level, small PTSD, even minor stressors like, global pandemics, things like that, or the whole world went through a stressful scenario. Do you think stress does more of this or more of this? Yeah, right, makes more choking off in the blood vessels. So stress can damage the system more. Bottom line, NET literally reverses the physiology related to stress. And they did pre and post brain MRIs to prove it. So that's that one. I got to teach anatomy and physiology for a while. I've been doing neuropathy specifically for more than 7 years. We've seen over 2,200 cases, countless seminars, well over 1,000 hours. And that means, right, flying around, coming up with protocols at work, even where others have failed, and I get to consult with other docs, and they invite me to speak from time to time. So here's the thing, though. I never wanted to be a neuropathy expert. It was never like, sign me up and go to school to learn how to do that. Like maybe a proctologist. I don't know how they decide on that one. But anyway, I'm thankful for those people. But so has anybody else learned the hard way? Raise your hand if you had to learn something the hard way. Hard knocks. I'm the only one? Okay, you've learned, yeah, see some heads nodding. Okay, so learn the hard way. So can I just show you guys, who's heard the story about my dad? Anybody heard that story yet? Can I share that with you? That's what got me standing here with you guys today. So my dad fought 2 tours in Vietnam, and he was in the 101st Airborne, and he was a ranger, tough guy, and did some crazy things that he never told me about. Part of his tour there, he got Agent Orange exposure. And who knows if that's toxic stuff, right? So that, coupled with he had a history of blood sugar challenge, he wasn't diabetic yet, he was still pre-diabetic. But all that to say, his nerves were really challenged. And then jumping out of airplanes, what does that do to your spine, do you think? Right, so he had some back things going on too. Bottom line though, our neighbor had a litter of puppies, and he wanted to help him out. It's got we had a little extra crate in our garage, so we went up to the stairs, got the kennel, and as he was coming down the steps, he lost his balance, and he fell, and he broke his neck. And he was on the steps for an hour before we knew, because we thought he was going to help the neighbor out. And my mom called and she said, hey, your dad fell. And she was in shock. So it sounded like, not a big deal on the phone. But that knowing part of you, it's like something's going on. You're like, I should check this out a little bit more. So I drove down to the hospital. And I'll never forget the x-rays they had. They're like, Doc, here's his neck. And we have him in traction, but he's not going to walk again. And we're doing the best we can, but we're grateful he wasn't totally paralyzed, but he was still a C5 quad. He could raise his arms and feed himself a bit. But that was about it. He couldn't hug his kids and grandkids. You know, that completely changed our family. And I said, I gotta figure this out. I gotta find a way to help stop one person from that. Because back then, that was 10 years ago now. How much do you think it would cost to put an addition on for an ADA compliant bathroom? Like, you know, he had a 2-story house, so we're looking at having him a home. What does that look like to put an addition on the house? Ideas. Throw me numbers. With like
30K.
the minimum. 50, 60, 30, yeah. So that's basic stuff. We're not talking like high-end, whatever, gold-plated marble, blah, blah, blah. It's just like a shower, right? So I can't imagine what it is nowadays for that. So I understand the financial implications, the family dynamic, like we live that firsthand. So that's what led me to figure this out. That's why I flew around the country spending time away from my own amazing family to bring this stuff to you guys. So that's my heart for you. Does that make sense? Like that's why I had to get this done. So at this moment, I'd like to give somebody an opportunity. We're going to have everybody to stand up, and we're going to measure balance. Joel, if you've already gone through this one, so you're welcome to sit this out if you like. And we're going to
failure, by the way.
Yeah, I know. So everybody up, everybody standing up. If at any point you don't feel comfortable with these tests, don't do them. Turn to your neighbor and tell them, I got you. Okay.
Hold on.
Yeah. So I'm going to show you the tests, and then I'll have you do them. We're going to do them together. But watch me first. Don't do them now. Watching me. You're going to stand with your hands together, your feet together, and hands on your hips. Okay? And then we're going to close eyes for 10 seconds. That's a baseline. Everybody's going to do that. Okay? If you're unable to, it's fine, but that would be a fail. And you get like 0 points for that. It's just, can you stand with your eyes closed? That'd be 1. Second test will be, you're going to stand this way, raising your knee up. Okay? 10 seconds, eyes open. All right? If you pass that one, it's eyes closed for 10. Those are the 3. You with me? Who's ready? Raise your hand. Okay, here we go. So hands on the hips, feet together. I'm going to time this for 10. On your mark, get set.
Can't even do it.
Can't even do it? If you can, then don't try. That's okay. No shame in that. You got to know your limits. Go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. So if 10 out of 10 is totally steady on your feet, I didn't say anybody fall down, which is good. But if 10 out of 10 is totally steady, how did you feel on that scale of 1 to 10? Like 0 is I'm going to fall over. 10 is I'm solid. I can do that all day long. Where were you at? 0. So Kelly's having challenges with that. Yeah. Anybody else less than 5? No, it was better than 5. Less than 7. Yeah, a couple less than 7. Who was a total 10 out of 10? I can do that all day long, no problems. Great. Let's go to the next one. Hands on the hips. You're going to stand on your strongest leg. Okay, yeah, so that's okay. Again, if you don't feel like you can or it doesn't feel safe, then tell Pedro, he said he's got you. But we're gonna, so if you, that's totally fine, John. I'm just playing, right? So, but bringing some awareness to where you're actually at, right? So again, knee up. Let's go for 10. Everybody rest for a second. I did that poorly. I'm going to say go, and we'll all do it together, okay? Ready? 3, 2, 1, and go. 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. Who passed that one? I was watching the clock. So we got a couple that passed it. Who wasn't even able to try it? A couple. Yeah, so we're gonna skip the last one and you can play with that on your own, but I think it's bringing some awareness. Whose balance is worse than they thought it was? You know it's bad. Okay. Everybody, thank you for playing. You may have a seat. And Joel, question for you. Would you like to have a mini treatment today to improve the balance?
Sure.
Okay, let's do that. Joel is part of our VIP experience, so he came in early and had some screenings done, and so we're going to use him for our demo today. You ready?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Here we go. So this is going to be a miniature treatment showing you what's possible and what happens. Come on up. Let's go ahead and stand for me. And we're going to show them how your balance is so that you can kind of something to measure. Okay? So I'm just standing here. Right in, yeah, so everybody can, there you go, great.
Okay, great.
And then, how are you with hands on the hips and,
I was okay there.
yeah,
Sure.
the one knee up is what got you?
Oh,
Yeah.
What am I doing now?
So let's just see with your hands on the hips and feet together. And was that a 10 out of 10?
Yeah.
For stability, that felt pretty good?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to give him a little push this time.
Oh.
Okay, just a little one.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to give a little shove. It's not bad. He's responding to that nicely. Let's go the other way. Yeah, so that's okay. Move forward nudge. So it's a little shake. You're going forward and then going backwards. So that's decent here. And I'm not pushing them hard, right? We're just kind of seeing is there anything that I've had people like want to cave. So that's good. Let's do one leg and stand on your strongest leg when you're ready. So generous would be 2 seconds, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to check some other things because we may or may not see the balance change since it is pretty challenged. I'm going to check shoulder range of motion and some other muscles that relate to balance. Fair? So watch what we're doing here. Let this relax completely, nice and soft. My finger's a little chilly, but let that relax completely in my hand.
Yeah.
Any shoulder problems I should know about?
Yeah.
I didn't feel that. So that one's pretty stuck. And this should glide up a lot easier. That one moves pretty well. Let me do all the work. Let it go heavy. Drop it in my hand. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so that one's actually pretty decent. That one doesn't move very well. And he's got some things in that thing you need to feel it. Turn your thumb backwards for me. Pull the elbow to your side. Hold it in tight. And that's just a shoulder stabilizer. It's not holding. In this position, that should work normally, and it does not. And thumb backwards, same thing, pull in tight there. And that one's rock solid. See the difference there? You raise your hand and see that? Mm-hmm. Good? Okay. Let's have you sit in this chair for me here. There we go. I want you to take the heel, and you were sitting on your right leg, correct?
Yep.
Pull your heel back for me. Yeah, I'm going to pull this way, you're going that way.
Okay.
And that one's actually weak. Do the other one. Pull back for me. A lot of the students noticing the difference between the two.
I did.
Okay, try this one again. Pull back hard. That one holds okay. Pull this one back hard. And that one weakens. Feel the difference there?
Yeah.
So that tells me, well, at least this one's not as strong as that one, right? So, and that's the one you were standing on. So we can make some improvement in his nervous system. We're going to see ideally changes in the muscle strength and tone. Would that be a help? And maybe shoulder range of motion, although I don't know what's going on with that thing, but it's pretty locked down. Yeah. And so we're going to see if we can make that better for him and maybe even should improve his balance some. Would that be a win? Let's see what happens. So this is Dr. Williams. I didn't get to introduce the rest of the team. You can just rest right here. You're good. She's going to be working on Joel while I explain what's happening and show you the things up here on the slides. So one is we're going to put a light on his brainstem and get the brain communicating down to the leg. What's going on there? So you're not going to feel anything with that. And so Joel, you can slide your feet right on this guy. good. And we'll get that rolling for you.
What did they do?
I might want to slide a
Was
little
already
bit.
preparing our shoes you had it there, they took your shoes off. So
Actually, I'll just set up. I'm ahead of you. Let's just set up the feet. So once you setting that up, here's what we're doing. The digital electrotherapeutic stimulation. Okay. Who's heard of that before?
Oh, I'm sorry. No.
Nobody. That's what I thought. So it looks like a TENS unit. Who's heard of a TENS? You've heard of TENS unit before? TENS is the 1950s technology. It sends one signal out to the spine. It doesn't do anything more than that. This will send a signal out, and then it reads what the nerves are doing, and then it sends a new signal out that's going to correct the signal. So it rehabs the nerve signal. There's a couple different options and companies that do this. And so we have options of point. But the bottom line is they start to rehab the nerve signal, and it's like kind of like a 9-volt feeling, right? It's a little, or if you're neuropathy bad enough, you don't feel it at all. So that's what that is doing. Is that making sense? So it's a little electrical signal that goes from the device through the skin, stimulates the nerve, and we're actually rehabbing the nerve signal. Okay, that's that. One thing that's not in the slides is the vibration plate. Who's ever used a push mower? Push mower, what happens to your hand? Wayne, what happens to your hands when you use a push mower for too long? What do they feel like?
they get numb sometimes.
Yeah, like, right? So you're pushing the mower, they get
I'm
numb.
pretty good right now, but they get numb sometimes.
Yeah, and so with that, that's bad vibration pushing the blood out. Make sense? So then with the right vibration, it brings it in and starts to heal the nerve pathway. And that's what we're getting here with the vibration plate. And then the other thing you're seeing is the light. Light is researched left, right, and center to restore blood flow. This is creating new blood vessels. We're stimulating that process and also relieving pain. You can use it also other than where the symptoms are. You can put it in the low back, for example, or shoulder, or wherever we might need to use that. So it's very versatile in its application. But it's critical for restoring blood flow, which does what? This. You with me? Awesome. So those are the, that's one prong, is the equipment that helps your nerves to heal quicker. Nutrition's another key player. We talked about that. Where should you shop in your grocery store? Exactly, Kelly. On the outside, right? We've all heard that before. You shop on the outside, and yet all the yummy stuff's on the inside, right? So that makes it harder. But we all know this. It's that simple. Fresh meats and veggies, fruits, right? So the way God made it, it's going to be better for you and healthier for you. Okay, it's that simple. So if you can do that, then the diet will be the snap. Okay. Additionally, we have specific nutrients, depending on what your condition is, what's causing it, that work to restore blood flow and have the micronutrients you might need to get the nerve back. So there's literally docs over, goodness, well over 500 now across the country using similar protocols, and they're seeing the same kind of results. So that's a really cool thing. In-clinic protocols that are the other element. So what you're seeing right here, the Beamer mat. 8 minutes on this will improve your circulation for 12 hours. Who thinks that's a good idea? Right? Yeah. If you have a back problem also contributing to neuropathy, the back on track in the back corner here is what you're seeing. That's this guy here. Decompresses the nerve so the nerve can talk to the feet again or to the hands again. We can do that and save people from neck surgery, back surgery, or if you've already had those things, it's still another option so you don't need more. Okay? And then there's Sandy sitting in the same chair Joel's in now. And what do you do when your cell phone dies? Charge it up. Charge it up. This literally adds energy to the body to charge your body's cells, and do things heal faster or faster with more energy? Crickets. Did they feel, that was a softball, everybody. Do they heal faster or faster with more energy? Faster, yeah. So this adds energy to heal up the tissue. We do some screening tests sometimes. If you're unable to feel this machine, it literally turns on and taps. I'll show you with that dummy plug here. You'll hear it. Not everybody can use this one depending on your history. You hear that tapping. That also sends an electromagnetic pulse to the equipment. And if you're unable to feel that at a certain level, then it might be too far gone. So we use that as a screening tool as well. Number next. This is a major game changer. Soft wave. Has anybody heard of stem cell therapy? Yeah? So this is activating your own stem cells, not injecting you with somebody else's or even taking your own to do that. This stimulates your own stem cells. We see a 300% increase in blood flow. What do we need for the nerve to heal? Right. Reducing inflammation. That's secret number 2, right? This does all the things. Speeding wound healing. We've seen ulcers heal, fractures heal, you name it. Speeding healing. This is a major, major game changer. The entire country of Austria has them in their hospital system. So, yeah. All your NFL team, all the pro teams have this in their training rooms. The picture on with the foot. What do you see there? Yeah, like that's bad, right? We can just agree all that's bad. Yeah. Guess how many treatments between that one and that one? 5. Any other takers? 8 to 10. It was 1. It was 1. Yeah. That was one of my colleagues. I've not seen, since we've had this machine, I've not seen one that bad, thankfully. But yeah. So we routinely, though, see, and Autumn can tell you this too, like people with discoloration in the feet, she runs the software for us, and you see pinking in the feet like every single time. It's incredible. Yeah. So here's the other key player, breathing. At a patient, they were on their feet all day long for their job and had burning the feet. Showed how to breathe between when we taught them this and when they came in for their assessment. Their feet were already feeling better. She's like, Doc, that was amazing. So I'm going to teach that to you. Is that okay? This is also in your handout. So if you forget it, you can look that up again. We're going to do 2 rounds. I'll show you how to do it once. We'll do it together. Before you do that, if you're like me, you forget things sometimes. Anybody else? Right? So this is your breathing reminder in your bag. It's also enjoy your, in that chair, so you're that guy. I got extra. This is also your declaration. This is not a commitment to me or anything like that. This is a commitment to yourself. I am going to make a change. Something that I've learned today, I'm going to implement and make a change and do, make a change. I've got to take action. Does that make sense? So this is your declaration to you that I'm going to do something different to improve me. It's probably on your water bottle. I'll tell you what.
Oh, it's around the morning.
Usually hangs out on top of that. That's where they, if you need one, yeah, it's right on there. There's one for you too.
There's one.
There you go. Yeah, you're welcome. So that doubles as your breathing reminder and for your own self. Like, I'm going to make a change. I'm worth it. I'm worth investing in. I'm worth making a difference in my life and in the life of my family, my community, and so on.
What are we doing with it?
Wayne, when you're ready to make a change and get better, and you're committing to you getting better, you put that on your wrist. Now's a good time, because most everybody else has on too.
Put it on my wrist.
Put it on your wrist. It's going to remind you to breathe.
Oh,
All right, you guys ready? So breathing's like this. You're going to inhale for 4, You're going to hold it for 4. Exhale for 6 with a hum. That's the key. What's the key? A hum. That resets the nervous system into a calming mode. And then you hold out for 2 and then repeat. I'm going to over-prescribe it at 5 to 10 times every waking hour, realizing if you're like me, you might do it 2 or 3 times a day. Okay? But honestly, the person that did it every waking hour made a difference within a week. It's in your book. You ready? Let's do it together. Breathing in. Hold it. Exhale. Let me hear those hums next time. Breathing in. Hold it. One more time. Breathing in. Hold it. How do you feel? A little more relaxed? Didn't put you to sleep yet? That's good. So let's see how we did here. Couple other quick stories. Leroy, I mentioned him. He got 50% better. Type 2 diabetic, would not give up sweet tea. Turkey Hill was like, he was just his nemesis. He's still improved, even though he didn't comply 100%. Isabel lost more than 70 pounds, used type 2 diabetes, and literally reversed it. She would come in here and her pants were almost falling off. She's like, Doc, I need to buy new clothes. She was ecstatic, completely changed her life. Elsie got her balance back, and she would drive over an hour to get here for her treatments. And then better balance, can feel my toes. When I'm walking, it doesn't feel weird. It's the first time in 10 years. So let's see how we do with Joel. You ready? See, we made some changes here. All right. Let's see about balance. We'll do, when you're ready, hands on the hips and feet together. You'll stand on the strongest leg.
Which you determined was this one.
Yeah, you went to the right leg.
Okay. Well, let's do the same one then.
Sure.
Okay.
Four, 3. So we got to 7 seconds on that.
That was quite a bit different.
Quite a bit different. Say more about that. What was different? What did you notice?
I did it.
You did it, right? That was a simple one.
Yeah.
That's giant, right? Like honestly.
Quite a bit different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see if there's any other changes. I don't know yet. This one was weak, right? Thumb backwards. Yeah, just pull that in tight to your side now. Hold that in. Sturdier. Let this relax completely. I'm going to see if there's any range change. I don't know if there is. That shoulder's been pretty. Nah, that's not. Yeah, there's other things going on with that. It's a separate story. And then the other one that I didn't check was his hamstring was weak. Remember that on the right side? So you can sit in your regular chair here. We'll check that one with you just sitting. Instead of moving you back and forth. And when you're ready, pull that heel back for me, Joel. Wow. You guys can't see that, but he's like, I can't budge his. Like, remember went straight out before? It's not budging now. Pull back again. Yeah, that's like super solid. It's totally normal. How long does that last?
Good question.
I don't know yet.
Okay.
What we do know is we made changes in the nervous system right now. Right? Has anybody ever been able to show you a positive change in a couple minutes with their treatments or therapies? Are you starting to see the power when you do that day in and day out for 90 days? What is your nervous system going to do? Dance. Dance. That's beautifully said. It really will. Yeah. Is that exciting to anybody? Raise your hand if that's a little bit exciting. It's okay. Yeah. So awesome. Now, again, well, we'll just leave it at that. Bottom line is we're treating the nervous system in a way that it wants to be helped, and we only did a mini treatment. Typically at home, it's twice a day, and it might take you a half an hour each treatment. Okay? So again, you're giving more to the nervous system, it's going to heal up quicker, right? That's why Betty went from almost permanent nerve damage to completely better. So, two choices, right? Do nothing, keep taking the same stuff, get the same results. What's that the definition of?
Idiocy.
Right? Idiocy is insanity, right? Doing the same thing, you expect different results. Or you try a new proven system. We've done it, a bunch. We can do it again, and getting results where others have failed. So you might be thinking, this sounds too good to be true, right? We just showed you in real time we can make changes in the nervous system. How do I know if I qualify? Common question. Well, simply we got to do our assessment. How bad is it? Or what stage are you in? There's 4 stages to neuropathy, just like cancer, right? Stage 1 is acute. Stage 4, there's going to be permanent damage in most cases. We got to find out where you are. That's going to determine, how bad things are, and that's the next one. How long does it take? Our assessment takes about an hour. Okay. The treatment may take up to 18 months. Commonly, it's about 6 to 9, depending on how severe the damage is. Nerves heal kind of slowly, right? Does my insurance cover this? What do you think?
No.
What does insurance cover?
Should
That's
though.
true.
Right?
It should.
Yeah, it totally should. Yeah, they cover drugs. They cover standard of care. Drugs, and they will pay for your wheelchairs and your walkers and your, God forbid, amputations and all that. That's,
Marketing.
right?
Marketing.
Yeah.
Pharmacy.
Pharmacy, yeah, that's what they cover. And the hard truth,
Drugs, everything.
right. You're right. And the hard truth is the money that Big Pharma has, they then impact the lawmakers that govern Medicare and all that determine what they cover and don't cover. And is that ever going to change in our lifetime? Unfortunately, no. So I get that question so often. I believe it's in your handout as well. Medicare's guideline says if it's designed to make your quality of life better, they won't cover it. It's insane, but that's their language. So they don't contribute to you getting better. They contribute to you managing your symptoms. So I mention that because I don't want to, we're not, pulling any punches here, and just letting you know there will be out of pocket for everybody. Just that's across the country. I've talked to other docs literally in every state, and they're like, same thing. Because of Medicare's guideline, by and large. And then what would it cost to invest in your health, right? What would a program, what are the values of that? So let me ask you this before you answer that one. If we could simply stop the progression from getting worse, what would that be worth? If we could just stop it in its tracks, right? So most of the time, cases we're accepting, like we said, we're saying 50 to 100% improvement, not just stopping it in its tracks. But if we could just stop it, that'd be worth something, right? Commonly, we see care plans range from, depending on the severity, if you're in stage 1, 2, 3, or 4, is your back involved? Is it how many elements do you have to cover in those core reasons? Does that make sense? The root causes. Your plans are going to range between, say, $200 and $500 a month. Okay? So we can find ways to make this affordable for just about anybody. That being said, big picture, care plans can range, usually starting in the $3,000 to $4,000 range, up to commonly even $10,000 to $15,000, depending on how severe the problem is. So just telling you right out of the gates, there's no hidden. We're just being honest with you. Is that helpful to know? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Here's my promise to you. If we can accept your case, we will do everything we possibly can to find a way to make you at least somewhat better. So do not let the financials be a hindrance in that conversation. Is that fair? But just telling you straight out of the gates what that looks like. So, you've had your time wasted before? Anybody? Yeah. How do you feel when your time's wasted?
Nothing.
Yeah, I get pretty mad. Like I don't like that. My promise to you is, if we can't help you, I'm going to get you in the hands of somebody that can. And we're not going to blow smoke and say, "Oh, we're going to get you better." We're like, I do not want to waste your time or your money, or my reputation. Right? We've worked really hard to manage that and build up and get people better. And if we can't help you, we're not going to accept your case. Is that fair?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's how I'd want to be treated if I go somewhere. We extend the same basic human courtesy to you guys. Yeah. So can I share the opportunity I mentioned at the beginning? Like, what is that like for you? Like, what are next steps now? Raise your hand if that's a good idea. You'd like to know about that. Yeah, okay, good. Just making sure I have your permission on that. So here's what we put together. We have our assessments in 2 days. Day 1 is information gathering, and then day 2 we go over results. Make sense? Day 1 is your focused attention. We get detailed health history, learning about your struggles and your goals. We do our examination neurologically. This is to answer your question is like, what does that look like? We're doing vitals, balance coordination testing in more detail. We actually have a digital balance board that measures actually quantifies your fall risk. We do muscle strength testing like we did for Joel when we check more muscles in the body or upper of its hands, and so we can check the whole neurological system. And we do a 16-point sensory exam. In other words, can you feel hot, cold, vibration, and so on? Because every one of those is a different one way to straighten the nerves. So we look at the whole system. Who's had an evaluation like that for their nerve system before? Unfortunately, I'm sad to see nobody's hands are up. So that's what we do for the neuro exam. We also do our thermal imaging to let you know about blood flow. We do a postural analysis to see if there's any weight-bearing problems that might be challenging the lower back and affecting the nerves down into the spine. They go to the legs, or you can see here, the tilt would affect the nerves into the arms. Does that make sense? We also do a microcirculation analysis. Some of you may have had testing done where they check your arteries and, oh, your blood flow is fine. Neuropathy lives in what's called the capillaries, the smallest blood vessels, or the ones that feed the nerve. So this looks at the microcirculation in the body, and this is a common one we'll see. Peripheral elasticity means the flexibility of your blood vessels. All right? You better be better than normal if you have neuropathy symptoms. And then the medical community will typically see it if you're a type 5. So if you're a type 5 or higher, I'm sending you to your cardiologist to get checked to make sure there's nothing major going on. We've saved several heart attacks with this screen. Okay? A lot of people come in at type 3, type 4, and, where do you want to be? Yeah, lower. Lower is better on this one, okay? Yeah, type 1 or 2. So with the nutritional protocol, you can reverse it in a lot of cases if it is high. So that's the other cool thing we need to watch in the process. That's everything on one slide, the thermal posture and circulation. And then myself, Dr. Williams, Alex, we get together and we go, in autumn, can we help this person? What are their goals? Is that realistic? How do we get them there? We talk about that plan together and come up with the ideal scenario for you. On the next visit, then, you bring your partner in health, whoever that is, helps you make healthcare decisions, because it's a big deal. They're going to need some support. The people that have support at home are the ones that win. Like, hands down, if you've got support at home on any level, whether it's friends or family or whatever, you're going to win a whole lot more. So we encourage you to bring people so that you got more eyes and ears in that scenario, more value out of the deployment. Does that make sense? We give you your graph and your sensory logs. You can kind of see here. Are you normal, acute, stage 1, 2, or 3, or 4 in the permanent? And that gives us ideas and guidelines on how long it may take to get it better. We also then go over your customized care plan and your reversal, and over your financial options at that point. Okay? So that's everything together in one slide. Total value of that is $875. Now, I realize 2 things. One is insurance isn't going to pick that up. The other thing I know is people that take action are the ones that win, right? If you do nothing, you get the same result. So, here's what we're going to do. If you choose to move forward with us today, I'm going to tell you to do that in a minute. Here's what we're going to do for you. You're going to get a POE treatment. You do the full process like we did for Joel with the digital electrotherapeutic, but you're going to get the full session of that. Okay, on the second day when we know that that's applicable for you. And if that's not enough, we're going to give you anti-inflammatory food recipes, 25 of them. So you can start winning with neuropathy right now, getting that inflammation down. Would that be helpful? Yeah, and they're simple, super easy recipes, but they're really useful. Okay, so everything together, the total value is $945. We're not going to do that for you. Everything total is going to be $197 for all of it, both days, and all the bonuses, $197. Does that make sense? So instead of $945, Kelly, if you pay $197 today, you're going to get everything on here. You're going to know how bad is it, can we help you, and what the plan would be. Does that make sense? I mean, that's simple. Now, for Joel, whatever you've already paid in would be subtracted from the $197. You pay the balance, and we can figure the rest out because we've already done some of those screenings for you. Okay. For those that are at home, the people that are here obviously get first dibs. We've got limited appointment times for this. As you can imagine, you have other people that send friends, family, what have you. We can't do this for everybody. If you're at home, you're going to text HELP to our office number, 717-285-0001. Help at 717-285-0001. It is first come, first served. So with that in mind, $197 is going to cover everything to let us know how you're doing and how we can help you out. How do you do that? On the back window here are some sticky notes with appointment times on them. You're going to go back there, find the one that works best for you. Grab that sticky note, put your name on it. Take that to the desk. They'll collect the $197. They'll hold your spot and get you all the information you need for the history and so on, and get you ready for your appointment. Make sense? Pick your appointment time, pay, get your information, and let's get you better. That's that simple. Any questions on that process? From the bottom of my heart, before I let you go, thank you for being here. Did you learn something valuable today?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Thanks for being here. Go get them.
There you go. You ready to go?
I did this, I fixed it. I got all the training for this, so I can do it.
5%. Yeah, totally. Yeah, no. Old time.
You're strong in this.
Thank you.
Yeah, certainly.
What'd you put out in the phone memo?
Next time.
Sorry.